Hey everyone, welcome to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes Day by Day. Thanks for being here. Today's the 28th, as I've already stated, because it's after midnight. Hope you're doing well. I mentioned that today was pretty good earlier in the free-to-play video. And I also mentioned that I have lots to discuss. I didn't get my... Probably need to... Hold on real quick. I didn't learn about that. So I mentioned we have some total things to talk about. So you know that I'm still guildless. Not by choice, mind you, but by the fact that I will go disband it. And apparently I've asked a couple times in the Discord, and there's a new guild, but I don't know. So that sent me to the recruitment servers, Discord, and I looked in there, and I was like looking for, not a super high guild, just, smashed. Just, a regular guild with doing GOTB or whatever. I'm not doing this right now. And so I come across this thing that I think that looks familiar, and I go on there, I go on the Discord. They're like, hey. I'm like, hey, I need a guild because mine disbanded. I'm like, oh, sorry to hear that. And then somehow they have records of me because this is a collective or something. Like there's a lot of guilds under this particular banner, but they all have different names. And so I'm like, and so they start saying, hey, is this one of your accounts? And I'm like, yeah, that's my Hyperlight account, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, and then you have this one. And I'm like, what? And they're talking about my original account. And I'm like, what? And then he's like asking me about all this stuff. And then he brings up a lot, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just not a PvPer. He's like, that's fair. He's like, what about all this other stuff? And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I'm not thinking. I just want to get in the guild. I'm thinking it's middle of the afternoon, whatever. And what I should have said was, I just play the game. Now, keep in mind, this guild advertises, or the one that I was trying to get in was advertising that it was, I don't know, 120 million, maybe, which is nothing. And so because I'm like, because I'm not this super hard charger, guys, like, I'm gonna, it'd be better if we just passed because I'm gonna end up replacing you at some point. And it's like, and I was like, whatever, I'm just looking for a lobby guild, and he closed the ticket. And I was like, it didn't make any sense. Because this guy, I didn't know that this guy would have, I didn't know that these other two accounts, these are the two accounts that are not free to play. So my Hyperlight, my original, and then this account are stuff that I've spent money on. And Come to find out, the other two accounts were under this particular banner, and I didn't realize it. And then the guy is, as he's doing my thing, he's like looking at my other accounts, and he's like, "Oh my blah blah blah," and it's like, why are we doing this? And so when I paused, I had went and just found another guild, and I invited, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll see." Oh, he has to make space, but he's like, "Yeah, you can come in." So I was going to jump in, but he's not made said space, which is like, if you tell me you're going to make space, then where's the space you told me you were going to make? And I don't know why the guy has to go back and be like, "You have to make space, just make the space then." But it was just super awkward. And I about half expected to be kicked out of the other two guilds just based upon that. I was going to have to shout for guild for three decently high GP accounts. But because I'm not willing to build mods, which I'm not a tall guy. I don't build tall. I build wide. But because I'm not, willing to spend hours and hours, looking for a, modding whatever for, and I don't even know who he was what accounts he was looking at, because it's like, who I set is pretty standard, in Territory Wars, geos, and then whatever else, basically. And he's like looking at him, and it's like, and I'm just sort of figuring out, I'm like, why? I'm still trying to figure out why this was even part of the equation. Because we're not talking about my other accounts. We're talking about the one that I'm trying to get in. And I was just wholly taken aback by the fact that this individual was like, he was making such a big deal about it, because when I applied to these guilds previously, not knowing that they were under this particular banner, I was like, nobody ever asked me about that. And so I just play the game. I go in, I put myself on defense, I do my TB, I do a GAC, I raid, and he's asking me about raid mods, and it's like the raid just started like 2 days ago, and I'm still working on the team for across all my accounts. Here, yeah, Barris's mods are not done. Yeah, I got it. I'm working on it. I'm waiting to get this bottom piece, and then once I do, I'll worry about the rest of her. Do I have Kelleron modded yet? I don't even have Kelleron modded yet. Why? Because I'm not done with them. Ayla, I don't think I have. No, Ayla's not done either. And it's like, this is the only team I'm going to have. I'm going to do, I just saw the scribble, like I mentioned, he put together a video for whatever, where you can get 2.1, and evidently I think that it, hold on, let me go back. I think that it involves, I know it involves Amagunda. I'm not sure if it involves Idkoth. It might. But it's essentially two teams using, how many characters do we have here? I think all of the Jedi Vanguard that aren't Dappa, aren't Tumbleguard, Tsukasa or Master Mace. And it's a Jedi Vanguard. And as you can see, I don't even have, I have one sort of, but it's like I'm working towards, now that I know that I need, if I can go in and do this thing that Scribble said and get 2.1, why wouldn't I do that? And so we may have the reason I'm telling you this because we may have another potential delay in getting Delia. But I think my plan right now is to finish the team that we're working on, or whatever it ends up looking like, and then come back, and then go ahead and finish Leia, then maybe come back and do this other team if I need to. But if I can get however much with one Vanguard team, that's what I'm going to do. But it's like, don't come at me with modding, and it's like if you want to address a particular team, tell me what I need to do. Because nowhere on the ad for this guild did it say anything about you need to have perfect mods. And it's like, if that's the case, and you're going to turn somebody down because they don't have perfect mods, maybe you should tell them before they apply on the post, hey, you don't have perfect mods. I've never done a roster review because I think that those are for people that have probably a little too much money. Now I get that you can spend your money however you want to. It's just like, and that's fine if you want to go get one roster review, maybe one a year. But if you're doing it a month, and you're doing, whatever the cost is, which I think is outrageous. I think everybody's charging $25, and it's like, could you imagine if you do that? And you're doing, you do 5 or 10. If you do 10, how many does it take to do in a weekend? How many can you do in a weekend? I mean, in a couple hours, can you do a 5 or 10 in a matter of a couple of hours? Because if that's the case, then you just made either 125 or 225, $250 in a weekend. Just probably 2 or 3 hours. Maybe a little bit more. I don't know. But it's like, when I get, I don't think I'm anywhere near a place on any account where I need to even think about getting a roster review. Why? Because I need to get this JV in place and get the raid, and I'm more worried about getting the JV to get the raid currency to move on with the rest of my life, to come back and build more team, because ideally I'd go JV into Leia into a team for a territory battle, or a team for territory war. That means, territory battle would either be GKCK or Mama Mandalore, or both. But it's like, don't come at me and be like, hey, why aren't your mods perfect? Why aren't you here? It's like, you have no idea what my roster is going to do. I mean, yes, I got it. I got it. Maybe I probably shouldn't have bought the Mad Match or whatever else I bought that I'm not going to use anytime soon. I was like, I've got it, so I don't have to worry about it later. Because at some point, I am going to end up at Lord Vader, and when I do, guess what? I've already got Hunter done. I've already got Wrecker done. I've already got Echo done. I've already got Tech done. You know, run away. I mean, it's just, but that just made me angry when the guy's like, why aren't your mods perfect? It's like, and I told him up front, I had 5 guilds, and he's like, oh my gosh. And it's like, I get that maybe you have 1 or 2, and you have tons of time to pour in your mods. Congratulations. I don't. And I don't play this game to spend it modding and remodding and modding over and over and tearing down the build up. If that's you, perfect. Congratulations. I have 5 accounts. This isn't the only game I play. And I have what some might dare call a life. Why? Because I have a wife, I have kids. I go touch grass. Yeah. And that's just where I am right now. I mean, I get, you know, if you only have one and you're hyper focused, I mean, awesome. Wish I was there. I'm not. What we got here? I don't think I have anything to beat it. And I definitely don't have anything to beat this guy. Oh, look. This said I'm at your Luke. I just think that expectations are when they're not clear. And it's like, because I think the way is that if you want me to build, tell me what you want me to build, and I can build it. If you don't tell me, I can't know. Because I can't read your mind. I'm not Gordon Lightfoot. If you know, you know. Because I can't. Anyway, that's just my frustration. I'm not going to be surprised if my other 2 accounts in these guilds that I didn't know were under the same banner get booted. And next time, if I do, you know, if you happen to be under that banner, it's like, it doesn't have to be like this. I keep telling people this. He didn't have to do this. He could have just took the time to explain, you know, what the requirements were, made stuff clear, instead of just coming at me and be like, well, you know, it's better if we would just pass on you. Because this wasn't like it was a guild that was doing rote. Which, by the way, if he was paying attention, well, it's not on this account. He would have seen that on my Hyperlight account that I'm just finishing Bo-Katan, and that right after that, I'm going to bring Paz and Kelleron and Halloween Costume Grogu up, and we're going to go get Mommy Mandalore. But I don't know if he saw that, because I had designs to do that, like I just said, after we finish Leia. Now, granted, that's probably, a little bit away, but it's in the cards, because ideally, the plan is finish the JV for the raid, onto Leia, then either Mama Mandalore or JKCK. But look how many people we still have in the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just to bring it up, just to finish, then we have to bring the Leia requirement, then we have to bring the JV up, then we have to bring the Leia requirements up, we have to get Leia, all before we can get to all this other stuff. But I digress. Anyway, thanks for being here. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Otherwise, God bless. Hold the line. I have friends everywhere except under that particular banner. Anyway, bye.